Good afternoon. Welcome to the first live video for my Pretty Perennials class. So I'm kind of jumping onto this group. Just checking I'm in the right place first. That would be a good way to start the day. I'm in the right place. Okay, so I'm just jumping on here. This is the first live I'm going to do for this class. So it's the Pretty Perennials class. I'm going to zoom in a little bit now that I can see where I'm at, do a bit of adjusting. Yeah, this is the first live in a series of 4. So I'm going to do 4 separate lives and then I'm going to upload them all to YouTube. And then those of you that are doing the class in the post, you can catch up once your kits arrive. So normally I would post out kits, post out product, and then I would go live. But because we're having such delays with the UPS since Brexit, I'm kind of sat here. I've got mountains of stuff around me that I can't really do until my product arrives. And then what's going to happen is the product's going to be arriving. I'm going to be trying to pack up kits and boxes, get things out to the post office for you. And then I'm going to be running around like a headless chicken trying to get all these videos and lives done. So I thought it would make sense to make use of good time and get some of these videos up and running now. So if you're joining me, please say hi. I'd love to know if anybody's there. I can see there are somebody there. And obviously, if you're going to be catching this on the replay, it might not be obvious, but you may well be stamping along with me. So the first card I'm going to do today is this one here. And it's using the Blushing Bride base, the card base. So you'll need to pull out of your kits the Blushing Bride packet. So they're bagged up individually, each card. They're not in envelopes yet. You've got them in brown bags because I don't have any envelopes because of no orders. I had one order arrive yesterday, I think it was. One order arrived and I've placed several since January, beginning of January, and they're just starting to filter through. And we think what's happening is the huge backlog over at EU Customs, that orders that have been placed later in the month seem to be moving faster than those that were placed earlier. So I'm just looking at my screen. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I think I'm going to leave it as it is. It looks like I'm on a tilt, but my camera looks okay in my stand. So, right, without further ado, if you're not taking part in this class, that's totally fine. You're welcome to follow along at home and use your own products. But I'm using the Pretty Perennials Stamp Set, and then I've got 4 inks, 3 that I've got here: Pool Party, Pear Pizzazz, Blushing Bride, and then I'm also using an early espresso as well for my greeting and for the centres of my flowers. So as I've said, this is the first. I'm just going to move my Mac out of the way a bit. This is the first card. There are 3 cards and 1 box. And there were different options for this class. Hi Katie, how are you doing? There's 3 options for this class. Was there 3 options? Yeah, of course there is. Sorry, I'm having a moment. You can purchase the kits along with the stamps. That's £30. Obviously, you can still order this. You can still purchase this kit, but I will have to order the product and wait for it to arrive. You can add on the dies as well. So that's the second option. For an extra £25 and 25 pence, I think it is. That's the difference to add on the dies, and that saves you 10%. It saves you about £4.75 when you're buying the bundle. Or the option is just to have the card kits and the box kit on their own, and that's £15 posted. And with that, obviously, you don't get any stamps, you don't get inks, but you will get any die-cut pieces that I've used, and obviously pre-cut kits. And obviously, you get to see the videos as well. So let's start off with this one. Let's get some bits and pieces ready that I need. The other thing I will be using is a blending brush on this card. I don't know if I'm using it on all of them, but I will be using it on this one just to add a bit of depth to this Whisper White front layer. If you don't have a blending brush, you may have a sponge. If you've done one of my previous classes, you may have a little sponge wedge that you've got, or you may have some of our daubers, which are brilliant for adding a bit of depth and going around the edges of layers just to make them pop out. So, and then also, if you've purchased the kit, you've got 1 meter of each of these twines. This is the snail mail twine combo. It's in the new mini January to June mini catalogue, so you will get 1 meter of that as well. So let me grab my kit. I'm going to do lots of fun stamping today. So I'm going to move that one out of the way for the moment and just bring in some bits and pieces. So you guys will have separate, I put all your bases separately when I pack them. I don't always tend to put bases in with envelopes anymore, just because when they're folded, it makes the package a lot bulkier. And obviously I try to keep it in the right depth for my boxes, my postal boxes. So you'll need a base layer. I don't have an insert because I'm still running low on Whisper White, waiting for the new basic white to arrive. So I haven't done myself an insert, but I've got a front layer, a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and then another Whisper White piece that just fits on top of it. And then we've got a skinny strip there for the greeting. So I'm going to pop my base to one side for the moment. And to start with, I'm going to bring in, I located my mat. If you watch my Stampin' chats, you'll notice I do quite often use my grey mat, and I couldn't for the life of me think where this was. And do you know what? It was in the most obvious place in the bag with my Stamparatus, because that's where it belongs. They work together. And then I've just chopped up a bit of old grid paper, and I'm going to take the Pool Party ink. Let's move some bits out of the way. And I'm just going to go around the edge with the Pool Party, take a bit off, and just go around the edge to create a nice kind of, a bit of depth, a nice soft edge. And I don't want to be too heavy, so I'm inking up my brush, tapping a bit off, starting off of my piece of paper and then moving on in a circular motion. And this just helps to, it helps it to start with a, how can I explain? It stops having a very harsh, oh, I'm rubbish at describing. It stops you having, so when I put this down on here, you'll see you'll get a real heavy bit to start with. By starting off of your paper, it will reduce the risk of having like a big splodge or a big heavy bit of blending. That wasn't very well described, was it? I'm not very good at describing things. I know what I mean though. Hopefully you know what I mean as well. I think just a little bit more down there. And that just adds a lovely bit of depth to this layer. Put that ink to one side. Put that layer just to one side. And I'm going to bring in some scraps. So from your stamp set, let me just hold this one up. We're going to be using quite a lot of stamps. This is such a fun set to play with, honestly. I've loved using it, and I've created so many things with it. And there's so many different combinations with all these flowers and leaves. We're using both of these solid flowers that kind of look like they've been watercoloured. It is a 2-step stamp set, which means you're layering up more than one stamp to create your finished image. So I'm using these two. I'm also using the small outline flower. I'm using a small leaf, a large leaf, and then 3 centres So this one, and this one. So you may not have as many blocks as I do. I have lots of blocks, obviously, for when I do my face-to-face classes. So you may have to do a bit of switcherooing and cleaning in between use. But I've got mine, for the sake of the video, I've got mine mounted up ready. So I'm just going to be picking them up and using them. So for today's card, I'm going to start with this large flower and the pool party ink, and we'll need this smaller 4-leafed flower, 4-leafed, 4-petaled flower even. And I'm wondering whether I should have re-inked this before I started. And we're just going to stamp these down. Now, if you didn't purchase the dies to go with this set, it's pretty good for cutting around, for fussy cutting. I've been doing lots of fussy cutting with this set. It's not too tricky. So that's our 2 flowers that we're going to be die cutting or hand cutting, whichever you prefer. Now I need to just pop in some centres. So just pull in my espresso ink. This is a really old ink, a very old one, and I've got 2, if you can see, got 2 centre ones here, and the multi-spot one, I'm just going to pop in the middle of that one, and then the large one that I call the flower one, the sun one, that reminds me of the sun. I'm just going to pop that one in the middle of there. I just love how that actually finishes off the flower. Okay, so next I want to stamp onto this layer that I sponged. So let's bring, and when this fits on our card, we're going to be having this layer sitting over the top of your first layer. Roughly wherever you like really, but more towards the top than the centre. And then what I'm going to do, I want some flowers to stamp underneath, and I want them to be hanging underneath here. But I also want to stamp, I'm going to cut out this flower and then stick it over the top of another. So I'm going to bring back in. I'm going to end up in a right pickle here. I've got lots of stamps and things out. And I did actually shoot this video last week and tried to upload it or to Bluetooth it to my Mac. Do you know, it just wouldn't do it. I don't know whether the internet was having an issue, but it wouldn't do it. So I thought, well, the best thing to do is kind of just go live and then upload it. So here I am. Okay, let's bring in some ink. If you're just hopping in, come and say hello. Be lovely to know who's here. So obviously I'm not going to stamp over the top of this layer because it's going to be hiding underneath. But I need to roughly gauge where I want this stamp to be underneath. So I'm going to have one roughly like that. So the top of it is going to hang out, and then I'm going to ink it up again. And I want another one coming out of the bottom. So I would say roughly there, which is quite a bit lower than my original card, but that really doesn't matter. So we're going to have them like this. One's going to be coming out of the bottom, and then this one here I'm going to die cut and stick over the top. Now I also want to have some leaves coming out of this base layer and some other flowers as well. So this is the solid leaf that I'm going to be using. And then I've got the smaller leaves mounted. But first I'm going to take this like outlined flower. There is another one in the set, if I show you. You've got the 2-step part of it there, the background. But I just want, for the sake of my card, I just want the outline version. So with my Blushing Bride ink, I'm just going to make sure I'm still in shot. I'm hoping that I'm well focused. Ink up this little flower, and then I'm going to pop one down here. One up here, but it's going to be hanging out from underneath there. And then I think my original, I had one over here, but there isn't really room. So I think I might just have one hanging off the end there, like that, just to balance that blushing bride that I'm popping in here. Next, we need to do some leaves. So bring in some Pear Pizzazz. And we'll start with the big leaf first. Now, this leaf kind of doesn't have, there's any way round with it. So it doesn't matter which way you stamp it. I don't think there's any certain way that it should go. So I think we're just going to have one coming here. Now I have re-inked this Pear Pizzazz since I did my original card. How low are we going to have that? About like that. And then I think I'm going to pop another flower down here. So I'm going to have a leaf coming down here. Oh, look what I've just done. Got ink on my fingers somewhere. Always happens, doesn't it? We'll work our way around that, don't you worry. Minor detail. And because of that splodge, I might just pop, hoping that that will cover up. Look, because I've re-inked, I've got lots of ink on my block, which doesn't help when I'm stamping down. I'm really conscious now that I'm going to, I think that's roughly about it. We don't want too many. I think maybe one coming up here. Do I want one coming up there? Let's just hover and see. Yep, we'll put one there. I think that's it. And then I'm going to bring in my little leaf. This little twin leaf stamp, which is really cute. And just add these to my little blushing bride flowers. Okay. Next, I need to fill in the centres of these layers behind. So we'll bring back in the espresso and just ink up the sun centre, I'm going to call it. And just go over the tops of those. I also want to just do the centres of these, and for that little flower I use this the little 5-dot centre, and just pop those in like that. Okay, I'm just checking I'm in focus. So that's our layer. Does look quite a bit different to my original, and that's the great thing. When I remake a card, it's never exactly the same. When you're doing things in batches, they always turn out a little bit different. So I think to start with, oh, I need to do another bit of stamping. While I just got that out, I need to do the word happy. So it's this stamp here, and then with the Blushing Bride ink, just ink that up. And there is no die. If you've got the dies for this set, there isn't one that cuts out the happy. It is a fussy cut job, I'm afraid. And maybe because we've got all the stamping here, and the mat will do the greeting. And I've done on my card sending lots of happy. Okay, you've got lots of options. This is your card. Just ink that up in the early espresso. See whether I can line this in. It's a little bit high. See if I can do one next door to it a bit lower. It's difficult without having my head right over the camera. Oh, that moved and it was wobbly. I think I'll go with the first one. Let's take the mat out of the way because it annoys me a bit working on the mat. So let's just pop these two pieces together and then they can go down onto our layer. Everyone who's watching, did you have a good weekend? Hope you managed to get outside and get a bit of fresh air. I've spoken to some of you. What day are we? Friday. Spoken to some of you Tuesday when I went live. But obviously not everybody catches me live. So what did you get up to over the weekend? And the week as well. The week has just flown by. Honestly, I don't know where it's gone. So this is how our layer is going to look. Now, I recommend, because of my cutting, don't always cut uber exact. I recommend that you stick these two pieces together before you pop this down onto your base. Because if you stick that one first onto your base, then put this one on and realise it's a bit short and you've got an overhang, then you can't trim it. So always stick things together before they actually go onto your base. Don't want to hide some of this. It's quite pretty. And then we'll just lay this one. Needs to be a bit lower than my original. Try and get it on straight, that would be good, wouldn't it? Oh, it's so hard to see from where I am. I think that'll be okay. So I don't have any overhang happening, so that can go down onto our base. So Blushing Bride base layer. My base of the cards measure, corners in, 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay. Now I've popped this layer on dimensionals. Don't feel that you have to. It is just personal choice, but you know I like things to be popped up high. But if you're going to be posting, you might want to reduce your postage costs and just keep it a little bit flatter. But I do love my cards. I like lots of layers. I like simplicity. I don't like things to be too heavy, if that's the right word. But I do like layers. I like things to look fresh. Okay, so we're just popping that layer on there. I'm going to take my jacket off because I'm getting a bit warm. So I popped on my cashmere jumper today because, believe it or not, even though the temperature has increased, I was feeling a bit chilly. And then, do you know what I noticed? My lovely expensive cashmere jumper. Look, I don't know what is happening. I don't know whether we've got a moth, but I'm not impressed. Not happy. But the cashmere keeps you warm, doesn't it? Okay. Shall I cut these with the dies? Yeah, let's use the dies. Let me bring them in and show you what they're like. They're stunning. So here they are. Just wait for my MacBook to catch up so I can see they're in good view for you. They're a beautiful set. As you can see, there's 23 dies in this set, and some of them work on their own, like this die here just cuts out a beautiful leaf, which we are using on one of the other projects. And these as well, they're beautiful. They cut out just lovely outlined flowers that look great layered. But then you've also got the dies that cut out the stamped images as well. And I love we've got like pairs of the leaves and the centres of the flowers and the mini leaves as well. So lots and lots of options there. Really good set of dies. Of course, when you buy them on the bundle, you save 10%, which is always good value. So I just need these two for the moment, and they will work with my mini machine, my Baby Boss. So I'm just going to pop these in. I've got a bit of washi tape ready. Now they do line up. There is a way they work better. That's not too bad. I'm going to cut that like that. But if you turn them, you will see that it does actually fit. It's not just a random die cut. It does actually fit. And the way to line this one up, I find the easiest, is this petal here that kind of has 3 bumps to it. And can you see this one here? It has like 3 bumps to it here, and that's the way that I find it's quick and easy to line it up. Otherwise you're turning and turning. You could always pop a little dot with a Sharpie pen on your die and on your stamp, and then make sure that you stamp it up that way. So stamp it with the dot at the top, so that when you pop the die cut on it, you know the die cut needs to go lined in with the dot at the top. Just going to run these through my Baby Boss quickly. Alfie's managed to stand right under my lie right under my feet. Obviously doesn't want to be on his bed today. Left on there I can use later, so just gently pull those off, because sometimes the washi tape, even though I reuse each piece a couple of times, it still remains quite sticky. Just pull that off. So I've got 2 flowers. Give them a bit of 3D. And then what we're simply going to do is line up this flower. It looks like the 3 petal is there like that. So I'm kind of like decoupaging. I'm layering that up, and just in case you can see underneath this flower, you'll see that there is another flower stamped underneath. And then I'm going to pop another one down over here like that. So let's take a bit of Tombow. Those of you that were with me on my live on Tuesday know that I'm on a new Tombow. I love having a new Tombow. I'm going to pop that one down there like that. Don't you just love the wiggle room with Tombow? It's a really good glue, really good adhesive. I'm going to go with this top one. It's a bit towards the top, but it doesn't matter. Oops. And of course I'm going to pop some mini dimensionals behind there. And then I need to do a little bit of fussy cutting. It's led right in my way. Can't stand up straight. He's led where my feet should be, really. Not going to be good for my back, is it? And then we're going to just pop that one. Let's move it over a little bit. Round about there. Sending lots of happy. Let's just cut this one out really quickly. Now, if you absolutely detest fussy cutting, you can stamp this down here first. So just stamp the word happy on here first, and then add your flowers after, so that you know what space you've got. I find this not too bad to cut around. Oops, I went totally off piece then. My scissors caught. such a fun stamp set to play with. Honestly, the combinations you can have with it, the colours you could use, the different occasions you could use it for. I'm going to chop that bit off because it's going to get in the way. Just follow back in with that. Yeah, it's such a fun set. Really great value as well. So it's Friday. I am, as I've said earlier, waiting for deliveries to come so that I can get these kits packed and posted. Kits are cut, but if there's anybody that would like the look of this card, and that even though I've closed booking, I can still order the product. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get here, but you can have the videos that you can follow along with at your own time. Let's get in that corner. I'm not going to go too close in there because this is going to be on a white background anyway. There. So just cut that one out. It's a bit curly now where I've cut it. There's a bit of a crease going there, but that'll be fine when we put it down. Pop some mini dimensionals on the back. Let's think, am I going to have any of it overhanging? No. Nothing's hanging over the edge of this layer, so I can just pop these across like that. That's as many as I need. Hello Ruth, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. So anybody that is just hopping on, I've creased it now. We're almost at the end of this card, but this is the first card in my Pretty Perennials class in the post. And I'm doing the videos now whilst I'm waiting for product to arrive. So I'm filming the videos. I'm worried that will be okay. I'm worried that's quite a bit of an overhang there, but it will be fine. There'll be room for it to go in the envelope. So I'm filming the videos now so that I am ready to go with them, hopefully next week when orders start filtering through. I've had a couple of orders come, but I'm still waiting for the one to come that has some of your stamps and dies in them. So I thought it made sense to make good use of my time and get these videos filmed. If I do them on lives on here, and then I will be uploading them over to my YouTube channel so that when the kits are done and posted and you receive them, you can go back and watch them, which is pretty much the same as joining with me live anyway. Ruth, you've just finished work. Oh, bless you. What is the time? 10 to 3, nearly 5 to 3. I don't know where the day's gone today, actually. The week has just flown by. I was just saying, I can't believe it's Friday already. So I think I will probably have a little tidy up and come back on and do another live this afternoon before the end of the day. And then that will be 2 of the 4 projects done for this class. And as I've said, there will be 4 separate videos just so that they're in bite-sized chunks of time, and you haven't got a big long video for each project. You got a delivery this morning, you lucky girl. And that was for one you made in the first week of January. Okay, so they are filtering through. I was saying earlier, I had a couple of deliveries yesterday, but it appears that some of my earlier deliveries from early in the month are still not coming just yet. Tracking keeps changing. UPS can't keep up with tracking. And with the extra measures that are taking place with customs, there's just been big backlogs. And I think there's just a lot of parcels waiting to be sorted through and to be on the way with the rest of their journey. So just sitting tight, being patient, they will come. And hopefully now once the first backlog, you know, is out of the way, that things will start to move a little bit quicker. Thanks, Ruth. You like this card. That's good to hear. So, yeah, just my colours, isn't it? Lots of sort of soft subtles. My original was slightly softer. You can see the difference because I re-inked my Pear Pizzazz. And I quite like it, the paler version. So they're similar, just slightly. This one's got more flower. The one I've just done got more flowers showing. So if you were part of this class, thank you for purchasing the kits with me and purchasing the products. And look forward to the next video, which will be coming very soon. And probably by the time you receive your kits, there will be all 4 videos ready and waiting for you to follow through and complete all of your projects. So I'll be back with you very shortly. Thank you for joining me, those who've popped on here for the live. As always, if you're shopping with me, don't forget to use my current host code. You can't see mine, it is written just above here, but because I've zoomed in, you can't see it. But it's always, I pin it to the top of my main Facebook group page, and it's always pinned up at the top, so you can always go on there and find it, and it will always be on my blog as well at kerrytims.co.uk. So I hope you've enjoyed the card. I'll be back with you very soon, so take care for now, and thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.